Welcome to this week's edition of Sports Zone. My name is Bob Wheeler, and I got a very, very special guest today. One of the greatest writers of our time in the Blue Water area and the whole state of Michigan, even the whole country. We got to get him on the staff here more often. Jim Whymer. Who else? Jim Whymer. Jim, welcome.
Hey, thank you.
Glad to see you again.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
You're just coming off the winter sports schedule and getting ready to dive into the spring sports. And it's been an unusual year for you, hasn't it?
It sure has. And really, we got a little bit of lull now with our basketball teams knocked out and wrestling wrapped up and hockey and everything else. So we got about a 2-week lull and it'll get going. But with the weather we've had, who knows? We'll have people out playing games like probably early next week.
It's unbelievable. Only in Michigan, right?
I know. And then it'll snow in April and May.
Yeah, watch it. One question I've always had for you is, I've read your columns for years. Well, I won't say how many years. A number of years. And you always have a different perspective on the athlete and the sport that they're participating in. How do you find these guys?
Well, a lot of times people will call you about different ideas and different column ideas. Like the last one I did this past Sunday, where a varsity basketball team from Port Huron Northern went and read to kids and talked to kids and helped them put together little packages, acts of kindness. This Sandy Haynes, a third grade teacher, stresses to her kids, you know, acts of kindness. And so that the basketball team kind of jumped on it. She took the players, or she took her students to watch them play. Only night trip she's ever done with a group of third graders. And so sometimes a lot of it is just, I'll get people that'll call me, or I'll just come up with an idea and say, hey, this is pretty neat. I'll go with it. So,
all these years you haven't failed to get an idea yet, have you? You've always got one.
You know, and I do 2 columns a week. Paul does a couple. Joseph Hayes does one. And sometimes, yeah, you're kind of like stretching, like what you got an idea, or we try to bounce all ideas off each of us and stuff. And I try to do one through the week a little bit where we look at like former athletes.
I love those. Those are great.
Because I think what we do is we do a pretty good job when they're here and when they're playing through high school. And then sometimes they go off to college and not that we forget about them, but I think we're too busy with what we do daily to keep up with what they're doing. And so I try to do little notes columns. And I hear a lot of good comments from parents and from people that say, hey, it was neat to catch up with so-and-so, you know.
And it's always great to see the local stories too, like the local softball leagues or the indoor football or something going on that's Blue Water area.
Well, and that's what we've gone. It's probably been about 4 or 5 years now where we've gone to an all local sports front. And at first I was going, guy, we're gonna really tick some people off that we don't have the Wings, Tigers, Pistons. But those people are getting that news, whether it's, you know, television, radio, news, or free press. We got to rely on area sports, and that's recreation, high school, all kinds of stuff. So I think it's worked. I think people pick it up every day knowing they're going to see a lot of local content.
If you don't do it, no one else will.
No, and it's from Port Huron up into the Thumb, downriver. We try to really mix it up as much as we can with the staff we have, size and space we get sometimes too. So because everybody wants you at their games all the time.
Yeah. Why weren't you at that game last night?
Right.
There's only 3 of you, and you can only go so many games.
Right. And just we kind of look at it each week and see where kind of is the marquee game, and we do it all through the football season. Kind of look at where's that most interest at on a Friday night, whether it's in Port Huron or downriver or out, you know, at K-Peck or Croslex. So
we were talking earlier before the show started here about you can't see yourself doing anything else with sports. You've been at sports for all your career. What is your favorite sport?
I got called by the hockey folks up in Port Huron for a little bit, just called me Mr. Basketball because they said, and it was funny, I went down, they put a little ice rink down at Desmond Landing, down by the Y there, and they had a little kids hockey tournament going on. As I was walking up, someone rolled down their window and said, is there a basketball game going on somewhere? Aren't you out of place or something here? I really enjoyed basketball, and both my 2 boys played. I grew up playing in Grand Rapids, and I just like it. Plus it's indoors, it's warm, and I've just enjoyed it over the years.
Something you've played, so you have experience there.
Well, yeah, I wasn't very good, but I played it. But I mean, it's fun, and I've really kind of tried to stay on top of our area basketball, both boys and girls, and it's a little bit difficult now when you have them playing the both seasons And they're playing every night of the week almost, it seems like.
Yeah.
It's the schedule's really goofy.
It's no longer just a Tuesday and a Friday.
No, and I think coaches would like to get back to that. I think fans would a little bit too. But the way scheduling is, and you have your BWACs where they play double headers on Fridays, and they play the girls in front of the boys' games, and they've tried some different things.
Now, how does it work for you having to hit the road? Like the St. Clair games or Marine City games can be way down in the suburbs somewhere. Madison Heights, for example. I mean, it's not easy to get there. You got to put some time in.
Well, what we've tried to do, and coaches have really bought into it, especially with our earlier deadlines and everything, is they're emailing or texting or calling us right after the game. Coaches before used to go home, tuck the kids in, have dinner, and pick up the phone and call. And now, with us trying to get scores up real quick online, get scores in the paper, they've helped a lot, and it's been really good. The football season's when we started this with our earlier deadline, and we would take laptops to games and send right from the site. We wouldn't drive back, so it's a little bit different. Yeah.
Now you all have laptops now, eh?
Yeah, and when you go to games, you just kind of send from there, and a lot of times it'll be a no quoter where you won't be able to talk to coaches and players right away, get that story in print, and then come back with more of a spin ahead type look. What did that game really mean, or what does it have to do with a league race or things like that? So
yeah, to me it always adds a whole lot more when you get to one of the players' perspectives or the coach's perspective. So that little quote here and there. It's always nice.
And I would rather talk to players.
Yeah.
I mean, when I first got into this a long time ago, a guy told me the more kids' names and pictures that you can get in the paper, the better it is. And when I go to like career days, I say we're refrigerator journalism, and kids like look at you and they say, well, your parents put your report card up on the refrigerator, they put your class picture, and they put the article from the Times Herald until it goes into a scrapbook. But that's what, it's all about the athletes. I mean, coaches have had their days, and I'd rather talk to the student athlete.
And the coaches put their days in, like you said, and they're now focusing on the kids to have them their days.
Right.
That's kind of neat.
But we'll have times where we'll run a story and we run a picture of the coach. And I went, wait, I don't think that coach made any free throws or any touchdowns. I'd rather see the picture of an athlete, because they get a kick out of that. They pick it up the next day. And
sure.
Or we'll have parents call and say, well, we saw a photographer at a game. Can we get some of those pictures? And you're going, well, I don't know exactly how many of your pictures your son or daughter were in, so.
That's always tough too, to get the right frame, right picture.
Yeah, and we have Mark Rummel as our photo editor and does a real good job with our photo staff as far as, we'll tell them ahead of time maybe people to concentrate on during the game, and they do a good job with it.
You must have a ton of files kicking back there.
Yeah,
office.
But now it's all digital,
yep. And
so like you'll ask them, can I get some shots of like the St. Clair Marine City football game? And a lot of that stuff was digital that they shot and then just went on to their next assignment. And so it's not like the old days where there were prints.
Yeah.
And you could go back and look through old prints.
But that drives Ralph Palovich
That's
crazy.
the Ralph Palovich years, yep. He's still up there. He still will shoot now and then for us. I saw him today, in fact. So.
Now, every time you go to a game, do you always have a photographer with you, or do you sometimes take a camera yourself?
With probably the new system that we have going, a lot of times we'll have camera phones and stuff that they'll be taking photos, but a lot of times we try to coordinate where the photographer maybe not necessarily will go with the writer, but we'll meet them there, because we have to stay for the whole game. They'll at times shoot a quarter and then have to go, or shoot a half, and so we a lot of times travel separately. Okay.
Do coaches take the time instead of calling you? Do they email you or text you with some of this information?
Yeah, that's getting bigger and bigger. It's just like a Friday night basketball game, we'll get probably half calls and then half just through emails, or they'll text us a score real quick. So it's getting a lot better, and I think we'll see through the spring season how that goes, because you have double headers, people are traveling, and we just gotta educate them a little bit more on what we need and how quick we need it.
I noticed this past fall, sometimes some of the football scores wouldn't necessarily get in Saturday morning, but they come in Sunday morning. time-wise. The deadline is different on the weekend, isn't it?
Right, right. And that was the tough adjustment a little bit. And when we first pulled that off, and we used to run boxes every Friday for Saturday. Well, the boxes are pretty time-consuming, so we just decided cover the 2 games that we would see that night, get them in print, get all the scores in, and then come back with a Sunday football page. And at first it kind of ticked people off. They weren't real excited about not seeing those on in their Saturday paper. But it gradually got better and better, and I think by game 3 or 4, we had all the kinks worked out of it. So
Well, something new. People have a little time to get
Right.
adjusted to it.
Well, it probably pushed up our Sunday sales a little bit too.
There you go.
That and Sunday is the bigger paper, and we have a little bit more room, and we can do some things.
And if they really want that next day coverage, they can watch it on Channel 6 right here, CTV, Channel 6 or Channel 902, or catch it on the web. Right, boss?
All right.
A little plug there for them. So what's coming up then? Spring sports?
Yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to it. It's just, especially with the weather we've had. You know, I was kidding around with a coach, and I said, your tryouts ought to be outdoors. Where, like, I've got to believe last spring might have been the worst in my 33 years at the Times Herald, as far as there were stretches where we went 4 or 5 days without games,
Yeah.
and then another week or so without games. I think coaches were really frustrated. Athletes were, just with the goofy weather. But yeah, I look forward to softball and baseball. Those are probably my 2 favorites in the spring, just because our softball is really good here, and of course St. Clair baseball last year winning the state title.
That was special.
I was there. That was pretty neat. Yeah.
And you get to go to
I got to go.
Yeah.
I kind of filled in. I kind of pinched hit a little bit for Paul Costanzo. Had a wedding, and he had seen him through most of the year. I went over for the semis and finals, so it was a good
Timing is
time.
everything.
I know. Yeah.
Now, I know you've refereed basketball for years. Do you ever do any umpiring in baseball?
Yeah, I do baseball and softball. Softball, you get behind the plate, and you could have 2 pitchers that are just, bringing it, and it's, a play here or there determines the game, and that's one thing we have. I don't know if it's just because of the teaching at the younger level, is our area pitching is always pretty strong, and so you get behind the plate, and it's fun to get, like the days of Kerry Seddon and some other people throwing. It's been pretty good.
Yeah. A lot of good pitchers around this area, a lot of good pitching coaches around this area,
Right.
too. It's special stuff.
Yep.
Special stuff.
Yeah.
So what about track? Do you get a chance to cover any of that?
Yeah, there's I think it's true that you'll see a lot of the cross-country coaches will turn around and be track coaches, and they'll get a lot of the good distance runners out. I know John Davison at St. Clair gets all those cross-country kids, and they're running the mile or 2 mile, and they're on relays and stuff. And we've got some nice track facilities in the area, which have really improved from the days of just some beat-up tracks. And we've had great performances throughout the last 5 to 10 years at the state finals in track. So it's been good.
That's because John would say it's a great day to run.
Yeah, every day is. Yeah,
I love that.
no matter what the weather is.
No matter what. Now you get tennis and golf and a lot of coverage?
Yeah, well, with spring sports now, it's the golf season gets going, and they wondered a little bit how that was going to be when they changed the sports, because not only high school kids want to get on those courses now, every weekend golfer and amateur golfer that wants to get out too, it gets that itch that that's a story we have going, is how quickly the golf courses are opening up, where a year ago it was way into April. So, and then you get the tennis going. This is a pretty good area for boys and girls tennis too.
A new sport coming here to St. Clair is lacrosse.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting.
Yep. Mark Daniels behind it. They got it going in Port Huron. It's a unified team, so it has Port Huron High and Port Huron Northern student athletes, and has gone pretty well. He's got it going, I believe, a little bit now with Marysville and St. Clair.
Right. He was on the show 2 weeks ago.
It's a little club sport to start out with, but it's kind of taken off. And I think it's more probably down in the suburbs of Detroit. It's probably a little bit bigger sport than this area right now. But I believe Anchor Bay has it. So it is creeping up this way.
It can only grow.
Yeah.
Get it bigger and bigger.
Well, they put those clinics on. They got all those little kids running around with all that equipment, and it'll be interesting. I've never gone to one. We've done features on it, but I'll have to try and get out this spring and see a lacrosse team play.
I saw one back in high school. Played McMorran. They had the ice covered up and just, the concrete floor. And I think the ice was gone at that point. It was springtime. And they're out there. It was vicious.
Yeah.
Those guys are hacking and whacking.
Yeah.
Remind me of the old senior league in hockey.
Right.
That's all they can do. You can't check anybody.
Yeah.
Hack and whack them. But there's also Little League baseball in the summertime. You guys cover a lot of that too, don't you?
Yeah, in fact, we've done more and more of it because we run a Rex Plus page every Thursday, and we try to really mix it up between, the youth sports and some adults. And the St. Clair Little League success they've had, I think, is translated on into the varsity level. So we not only see Little League baseball, but we've done a lot with the Little League girls. The Croslex girls had to run 2 years in a row at the World Series, and that was pretty exciting. It really was. It was fun stuff to see them win a World Series title last year, and the year before 2 years before it comes so close. So, it's fun. And our Little League baseball is pretty good with all the townships having it and cities and stuff.
And when you guys go out and cover the districts and the regionals and states, even the World Series, that kind of brings it closer to home, so the rest of us who aren't in that community can feel a part of it.
And that was the whole deal with the Croslex girls, is we ran a Cover It Live where we just did complete coverage of it from any really pitch and batter by batter and everything else. But so many people got on and commented, from fan from St. Clair, fan from Algonac, who, even though they really didn't know those girls or didn't know the whole system and the whole run that they had, they were pulling for them, which was kind of neat.
They cared.
Yep.
That's great stuff. Great stuff.
Yeah.
I know. I'm Croslex. I may have some relatives up there. I don't know. There's so many of them, I can't keep them all straight. But I pulled for them anyway. That's great. Go girls, go.
Yep.
And that was out, was it Portland or Seattle? Or
they went to Portland the first year, and then they went back to Washington.
Washington. Okay.
Yep. So I really thought with the first year they went out, they could have won it. They ended up losing in a semifinal game by a couple runs. And then the next year they went back and got to the regional finals and were a run or two away from going back to the World Series. So can you imagine these parents? It would have been 3 consecutive years of making these trips. So I was kind of kidding with them. There's another Little League age, and the World Series is in Kalamazoo. So I said, keep this team together and go try to win another one. But I think it's other sports are pulling them away, and there's some are softball, but I think your volleyball coaches want them, the basketball coaches want them, and so I think they're probably just that group will break up a little bit.
Well, there's soccer going on too, and this new lacrosse thing.
Yeah, so I think at that age was kind of nice, and when they're 12, 13, 14 years old, it's a good time to really keep that group together. And but I think now, like, Croslex fans thinks, well, if they can win a World Series, they should win like multiple state titles.
Yeah.
And it doesn't always.
It doesn't work.
Doesn't always mean that.
I was talking to Bill McElrath last week. I said, Bill, I thought you were going to retire. He said, well, I decided to come back one more time. And I may regret it.
Oh, I think they'll still be good.
They'll still be good. He had to replace 7 starters, he said.
Yeah, but
those 7 starters are good.
Those 7 starters are really good. And when you have someone like Joel Sutton at South Carolina, that's a tough group to replace. But I think he's got some good young kids that are going to come in. And when you still have the pieces like of Jake Cronenworth and Jeremy Carroll, you can kind of build around them. Yeah, and I'd like to see how Tyler Lozen, coming off that knee injury in football, if he's back, he's going to be really tough too.
I heard the other day he was back on the mound briefly.
Yeah.
About 70% able to throw off the mound.
That's pretty good for March.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
I was teasing his sister the other day. I said, she could be his leg. Just a short guy. But we had fun with that. Anyway, so what's next for Jim Whymer?
Well, I got 33 years in, heading on 34.
You started when you were 12, right?
I was pretty young when I came here, but I really enjoyed the years at the paper. I mean, I always told kids when I go to career days too, I said, they're paying me to go cover a sporting event. I mean, how
it doesn't get any better than that.
You can't beat that. No. Yeah. And I mean, the days have changed where, like, I've talked to people, and we did Michigan State. We'd go see the Lions. We'd sneak down and cover Tiger games. And that's all changed a little bit with our philosophy of local. So I I miss some of that stuff, but it's still neat to go out and watch a baseball game or go see a track meet or, like I say, I got in this just, it's a chance to meet athletes, meet coaches, and it's been good.
How do you decide who goes out on the road then between you and Paul and Joseph? You're the boss.
Yeah, we just kind of map it out, look at what's coming up a week, 2 weeks out or so, and just kind of we rotate things, and that's kind of what I learned a little bit from Ralph Pavlovich is I don't take all the good assignments, and we kind of pass things around because we're a 3-man staff and everybody has to do everything. So, but now there were some things that we just completely passed on, like Paul did all the wrestling. He wrestled in high school, and so he covered the Richmond wrestling state title. Well, he's covered the 3 in a row. So, and he does a lot with the Fighting Falcons, the hockey. Joseph and I handled a lot of the basketball. Joseph did some of the swimming and stuff. So we kind of, not that we have a beat that we cover, but we kind of put people in areas that they like the most and that they have probably the most knowledge of.
Yeah. Spread it around. Spread it around.
Yeah.
You know, like you said with Ralph, you know, when you take all the good stops every time, the other guys will be discouraged.
Right.
Maybe not have as good a time as you do.
Yeah, and I think that's worked, especially when we've had teams make state title runs. Everybody's kind of taken, you know, got their shot at going to it. I ended up, I went down and saw Marine City football play in the state finals with Paul. And yet Joseph went over to watch Marysville volleyball in the semifinals in Battle Creek, which they hadn't gone in a while. They had a little dry spell after winning, 9 or 10 state titles. So, and then Paul did some hockey this winter. Marysville hockey and Northern hockey were both pretty good. And so it works out okay.
Yeah, Northern had quite a ride, didn't they?
Yeah. From playing in a real tough league, once they got into Division II, I think their strength of schedule really showed.
It's all an experience.
Yeah.
Well, this is great, Jim. I'm glad you came down and talked to us again today. You're always welcome here, no matter what.
All right, thanks.
The door's always open. We ought to get a Jim Whymer show here, folks. That'd be great. What do you think, boss? Get him down here. Get him in the broadcast booth a couple times with us, too.
Good.
Hey, you always cover football. We always see you there.
Oh, yeah. Now, your son is still coaching down here? Has
he moved on?
He's coaching at St. Clair JVs. They were 17-3. He had a real good group.
Okay.
Good group of kids. Teaches at Marine City, and coaches some cross country, coaches track. So
he's busy.
He's a 3-sport. Yeah, he's year round. So
who would have influenced him? Your wife?
No, I think he just enjoys it. He loves being on the basketball court and he loves working with kids. So, and then my oldest one is coaching too. He coached at Northern this year.
Okay.
So
he stayed home.
Yeah, he was closer to home. He had a rough year though.
Yeah.
And the 2 brothers went against each other.
Ooh.
That was one of my Sunday columns.
Okay.
The 2 brothers that, and I'm sure both of them in the locker room ahead of time said, "Hey, don't let my brother beat me." So it was pretty peaceful.
It's kind of special.
I didn't have to break them up like fighting on the court or something. So
not like they did at home.
No.
How much difference in age?
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah. They played together, which was pretty neat for my wife and I to watch them.
Yeah.
One was a senior, the other sophomore. So
saves on the travel.
Yeah, it's good.
Well, again, Jim, thanks for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
Thank you very much.
And we look forward to seeing you next time right here on good old Cable 6 and 902, or watchctv.org on the internet, and we'll look for you next time on the Sports Zone. Thanks for watching.